Everybody, I know you're wondering right now, why is this machine right here, right? As you all know, this is a Mr. Coffee machine. I got it from my mom. She has so many different Mr. Coffee machines and she just gave it to me. Actually, it was in her garage and I just took it. Thought that it would be a good idea to see what we can do with it. I'm sure everybody knows what a Mr. Coffee machine is. It is a coffee maker that makes coffee. And I'm sure a lot of us have started with the Mr. Coffee machine. It's really easy to use, it's simple, but there are things that are lacking of it, right? So again, this is just a coffee machine. This is a big one actually. This can fill a lot of coffee and it has a delay on it. You can set it in hours and minutes, but you know, a Mr. Coffee machine, a lot of us have moved away from it, or some of us probably haven't, mainly because of the coffee that it actually produces. Doesn't really produce really good coffee. No matter what you kind of do to it, it still tastes more so the same. So what is the relevance to me as a coffee roaster? I think it's extremely important because a lot of people don't have like gadgets like the Hario V60, the French press, you know, they're not willing to really explore different coffee makers that make their coffee better. I think that's the reason why we go ahead and drink coffee, especially in specialties, that we can really taste the nuances of coffee. In this case, you can't really taste that in this. Even when I put my, you know, specialty grade coffee inside of it, it's very hard for me to really get what I can get out of it. But the bigger thing is that I'm trying to see if I really understand what some of my customers actually drink and how they drink their coffee, and to see if they can actually taste if they can really taste the specialty in coffee using this machine. Like I said, this machine has a lot of drawbacks, so we're gonna get into them soon. And I'm seeing if it's possible for me as a coffee roaster to give a recipe to somebody who owns this machine, you know? Like I said, this machine is very basic. It does what it needs to, has a valve right here, as you can see right here, to release the coffee, and then has a water reservoir to where you can put the water and all that good stuff, right? So, and it also has a place to where you can put actually filter papers, or you can also put like a metal filter inside of it to give you more of a French press type of immersion type of taste, a muddy cup, so to speak, as I would say. So what's the relevance to a person who uses this machine that I play around with it? Is that I want to see if we can get back to the everyday coffee drinker who uses this, who wants to use specialty coffee grade beans in order to make their cup of coffee. And so they can really get the specialness of it, like I said before, you know? And that's one of the things that's going to be extremely critical as we try to go through this challenge. So we're trying to see if everybody can enjoy coffee. It could also not be specialty. It could be whatever you're drinking right now. Probably is just a recipe that will work for you for any coffee that you may want to try in your machine. So there's a lot of machines that are like this. So we're gonna use this one as our test bed, and we're gonna just see what we can do with it. One of the things that I do want to talk about in this short series is that let's talk about the pros and cons of this machine. Pros is that it's kind of relatively cheap. I've actually noticed that the prices have gone up quite a bit in this machine. I was really surprised. This machine is probably like $60, $70 on Amazon, but it's easy to use. You just put your coffee in there, you push a button, and you're good to go, right? A thing about it is that it's, to me, one of the biggest drawbacks that I see with this machine. Let me try to get this out. And I'm gonna plug this up right now. I am using the extension cord, so do realize that the temperature may not represent exactly what the ideal temperature is if this was plugged into directly into an outlet instead of just using the extension cord. So, and what I want to do too, to let you know, one of the biggest cons to me is how not hot the water gets. This water right now is about 70 degrees, 70.8 degrees Fahrenheit, 71, let's just say 71, okay? So this is close to being room temp, right? You'll probably actually, when you pour water into it, you'll probably already have water into it. So it's probably gonna be closer to 76, but whatever your room temp is, that's what this water is, right? So let's go ahead and put this back in the vessel. We're gonna go ahead, put the water in. This is about 1 liter of water, and 1 liter of water will get you about six to seven cups. Is that cups? 6 or 7 cups of coffee, of water, right? So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna push, okay, we turned it on. Okay, so it should take a couple of minutes for it to get going. But I believe one of the biggest drawbacks in this machine is that it draws down way too fast. What we're gonna do once it's done is that we're gonna actually get the temperature of what this comes out to. This temperature is actually a lot hotter compared to what happens after the coffee is brewed, right? So I believe that's gonna be one of the drawbacks of it, that it doesn't really get as hot as it needs to in order to extract the coffee. So you see the steam coming out right now. And to me, I don't like too fast of a drawdown just because it doesn't extract as much as it should. I know there's a law of diminishing returns. Everybody has their preferences of a fast brew versus a slow brew, or just right down the middle. But in this case, it doesn't really extract the coffee as much as it should. One of the things that I do want to talk about is that I'm gonna be challenging myself to see if I can make a tasty cup of coffee out of a Mr. Coffee machine with a couple of constraints. One of the constraints is going to be where I'm not modding this machine at all, okay? This machine will not be like poked into, putting in a filter basket, because I've done that before, like a Hario B60 size 1 filter, and it actually worked out pretty well. But I'm not gonna be doing any type of that type of modifications. I think the biggest thing that I'm gonna be doing is seeing if I can dial in a perfect recipe for this machine so we can be able to extract the coffee, extract good flavors out of it. That is easy for anybody to do on a Mr. Coffee machine. I don't know if I'm gonna actually accomplish the goal of that, because that's gonna be the interesting part of this, is that if I can't do it, I can't do it. And I think the biggest takeaway that I'm really trying to understand or trying to get with this machine is that it's very important that we use the machine for the way it is. Especially in this case, this is a $60, $70 machine, which to a lot of people that is quite expensive, but it's also more affordable than all the specialty graded type of coffee makers that are automatic drip machines. So we're gonna see what we can do out of it. This has been a couple of minutes right now that the water is actually coming down and doing its thing and all that. So we're just gonna wait until it's done. So like I said, there's not gonna be any real modification to this machine. I'm gonna mainly focus on grind settings, understanding the extraction that it actually comes out of this machine, and seeing if I can I'm able to create a recipe that's gonna be actually helpful to the people who use this machine. And I don't want to get too in the weeds with it, you know, but we're just gonna have fun with it. We're gonna see what we can do, and we're gonna see if we can beat this challenge with all the constraints, all the things that we're not trying to do in order to make a tasty cup of coffee. And I know this is gonna be hard because I'm sure there's many people that have tried to use this machine, and after a while they just go ahead and upgrade and do other things, get other machines in order to produce a tasty cup of coffee. So what if I fail? If I fail, I'm gonna give you an alternative, either another coffee machine or whatever else. We're gonna think this through, but I am wanting to see if I can provide you an actual alternative to this challenge if I can't beat this challenge. And we'll see what we learn from it, right? Because that's gonna be the biggest takeaway that we do when we do these things, is like, okay, here's a challenge. This is what we're trying to produce. And I think it's okay to fail. I think that's the beauty of all this. It's just a journey. We're just trying to see where this path takes us, seeing if we learn anything from it, and then we'll go from there, right? So that's what I have for you right now. And put in the comments below to see if there's anything that you may want to learn from this, or you may think that this is a stupid idea. Just let me know about it. I'm curious to see what you think about it and all that good stuff, right? Before we go ahead and end this video, this water is still moving and grooving and doing its thing. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and pull it right now to see. So let's just go ahead and get this temperature before we leave off today. Okay, so that's about 175, 180. So we have some work to do. You know, this is 175, 180 degrees that we got this water to. And that's not gonna really cut it. So we're gonna see what we can do with a lower temperature, fast extraction, and really try to figure this out. So talk to you later. Let's see what we can do. Say hello. All right, bye.